Welcome back to Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, besides President Omar al-Bashir of Sudan, the ICC is dealing with Congolese warlord Bosco Ntaganda. Judges at the International Criminal Court decided that the opening of Mr. Ntaganda's trial will take place at its headquarters in The Hague and not near the site of his alleged atrocities as earlier planned. The ICC, widely accused in Africa of being a European-dominated neo-colonial institution, has often been urged to do more to bring its work closer to the communities and victims to whom it was meant to bring justice when it was established. Mr. Ntaganda, known as the Terminator during his days as a fighter in an insurgency in the Democratic Republic of Congo more than a decade ago, surrendered to the U.S. Embassy in Rwanda last March and was transferred to the ICC. Now, just in case you're not too familiar with the war crimes of the former warlord, that's the crimes he's been accused of, here's a quick summary. Now, he faces 18 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity for his alleged role in the conflicts in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The charges range from playing a key role in ethnic crimes to the use of child soldiers, as well as capturing sex slaves and murder. It's important to note that even though Mr. Ntaganda turned himself in, he is denied the charges leveled against him. We're joined by Mr. Diomofade, who's a former ICC prosecutor from the nation's capital, Abuja. Mr. Mofade, thank you very much for joining us on the program.
It's always a pleasure to join you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, this is your field. Could you tell us more about the choice of location for this trial? Okay.
The normal state of affairs is all trials relating to the International Criminal Court would normally take place in The Hague. Now, there's been a shift of thinking in the last few years, and the court has decided, based on a lot of popular opinion from states where these conflicts are happening, the court had decided that to the extent that it's possible, these trials should take place in the location where the crimes actually happened. And you might think that there's good reason for this. Firstly, it brings justice home to the people who have been wronged or who feel they have been wronged. Now, on this occasion, in the case of the trial of Bosco Ntaganda, the idea was, although the full trial was not determined to be able to take place in Bunia, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it was considered that at least the opening statements of the trial should take place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, based on that, there was a recommendation to the presidency of the International Criminal Court that the opening statements should take place there. So what you've been discussing now, and the decision that came out yesterday, was a decision by the presidency to say that, having considered all the aspects of the case, it is not prudent to have the opening statements in Bunia, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I have to hasten to add that that's only in this particular case. It doesn't allow the possibility of actual trials or parts of those trials taking place in places where these crimes occurred in future.
Now, there's been a change in location, but will there be a change in format?
No, the format of trials at the International Criminal Court in The Hague remain the same. Even if this trial had taken place in part in Bunia, in Democratic Republic of Congo, it would still have followed the same format. The usual format is there would be opening statements by the prosecution lawyers. The prosecution lawyers will make an opening statement giving a summary of the evidence that they intend to adduce before the trial chamber of the ICC over the coming weeks or months, then the defense of Mr. Bosco Ntaganda would also make an opening statement, giving an eye-opener of what he says his defense is and why he says he is not responsible for the crimes for which he has been charged. And then you will have another opening statement, normally, by the representative, the legal representative for victims. And the ICC is very unique in this manner, in that it allows victims, that is those who have alleged that they suffered crimes, they suffered harm as a result of crimes that transpired in the conflict. It offers an opportunity to them also to present their case and show how those crimes impacted them and the rate of their loss. So that's the first step that would normally take place.
Well, Mr. Mofade, just before I let you go, I'd just like to ask, based on your experience with the ICC, dealing with similar cases, how do you reckon this might play out for Mr. Ntaganda?
Well, it's very hard to say. I'm not privy to the evidence. This is not a case that I personally was involved in, and even if I was, obviously, for obvious legal and confidentiality reasons, I can't say. But the trial would normally take its usual course. After the opening statements that I talked about just a few minutes ago, what would normally happen is the prosecution will start calling all their witnesses. In this particular case, I would be very surprised if we have less than 30 prosecution witnesses. These will testify before the judges of the courts. There are 3 judges that sit in the trial chamber. These witnesses will testify over the coming weeks and months. The defense of Mr. Ntaganda will have an opportunity to cross-examine them, to ask them questions, and to test whether or not their evidence comes up to scratch. Only after that will the victim's legal representative also be possibly asked opportune to ask them questions. And then the defense case comes up. The defendants, in this case, Mr. Ntaganda, will be allowed to call any number of witnesses that he has available.
Yes.
Those witnesses will also be cross-examined by the prosecution and questioned by the legal representative of victims and sometimes by the judges.
Well,
and at the end of the whole scenario is when we get to when the judges reach a decision whether or not Mr. Ntaganda is found guilty or not guilty. I have no way of knowing whether the result will be a guilt verdict or a not guilty verdict.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see then. But we're very grateful for your time as usual. Thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa.
Thank you for your time as well. Thank you.